Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Neptune, square, opposition, or inconjunct one's natal Jupiter. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve Neptune, well, they can be about what we dream of, our dreams, fantasies, inspiration, self-sacrifice, ideals, and things that may be unrealistic. Another thing is when you have this transit, it's basically an adverse transit. Now, I'm going to elaborate on this. As far as when I say basically adverse, what I'm saying is squares and oppositions, of course, they are negative and adverse aspects. Now, the inconjunct, though it's neutral, keep in mind that a neutral aspect can have good and bad qualities in it. And an inconjunct aspect often requires an adjustment or transition. So those things can require, not required really, it can cause some exasperation and tension. So collectively, basically, I see this as an adverse transit. Now, again, when transit Neptune is basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Jupiter, it may manifest in dreams, fantasies, inspiration, self-sacrifice, ideals, and even what's unrealistic. Those things may conflict with your optimism. It could be that something you might be seeing now as an unattainable dream is really curtailing your optimism, your hope, or any enthusiasm or exuberance you may have at this point in time. You might not be overly exuberant about doing things that are connected with self-sacrifice. It could be helping those less fortunate than yourself, such as the impoverished, the oppressed, the homeless, or the hungry. As an example, it could be with your family. Say if the transit Neptune is in your fourth house, it could be for maybe you're sacrificing somewhat for a home or family member, or somebody that maybe you're close to home with. Another thing too is that this is a time too where you might not be overly, I'd say you're not overly inspired to expand your horizons at this time. Maybe there's lethargy, or there's some tiredness or weakness that's happening to you, or I should say that you're feeling maybe lethargic, or you're tired, or feeling weak, and that might be challenging you to broaden or expand your horizons at this point in time. And another thing is Jupiter can be about hope, and you might feel at this time that it's hard for you. You might feel being hopeful about a situation is just a dream, or something that's just completely unrealistic. It's not fathomable to you at this point in time. And another thing is that this energy too. Keep in mind, Jupiter anatomically speaking, it's connected with the hips, the liver, pancreas, and sciatic nerve, and even obesity. So it may be a time. Be careful, what you're putting in your system. It could be, just being lackadaisical, maybe causing, just more weight gain, being stagnant, just relaxing too much. Not really feeling like being overly active. It can be, a time too. This could be. Jupiter is also about enlargement as well. And the thing about it is, this could be, when you're dealing with, something, connected with Neptune, fantasies. It might enlarge maybe unreal fantasies that just aren't, overly realistic. You are talking about basically, an adverse aspect. It can be, a time too where, Neptune is connected with spirituality, but Jupiter is about religion. You might be torn. Maybe you're in this tug of war. Perhaps especially if the opposition aspect is taking place in the transit. Torn between what do you want to do, as far as do you want to be more religious, do you want to be more spiritual at this point in time. It can be a time too where you look at this transit, and the thing about this is Jupiter is also about humor, jocularity, joviality. Maybe you're just too tired to express that at this point. Maybe you're confused over whether somebody's joking or being humorous as opposed to being serious at this time. It may also be, having this transit. Of course, you might be. It could be some confusion you may be going through, connected with higher education or a religious congregation you may want to join. Maybe matters with in-laws may be a little bit nebulous or unclear. Maybe these people, I should say, are nebulous or unclear at this time. And the thing about this too as well, Jupiter is also connected with our philosophy, our belief. And the thing about this too, this could be a time where you look at a transit like this, just guard against having a belief that might be, it's not about just being idealistic. This could be about, again, Neptune can be connected with things that are unrealistic, that are not plausible, that are not fathomable. The thing about this is too, Neptune is also connected with forgiveness and compassion and altruism. Those things you might have a harder time expressing. It could be to in-laws, maybe to foreigners at this time, or people, maybe it might be, people that are in, Jupiterian professions. It could be college professors, or maybe people that are in publishing or advertising, or that are involved in sports at this time, that that might figure prominently in your life scheme. Now, another way this transit may manifest, this could be about where matters with sacrifice may conflict with you trying to expand your horizons at this time. Now, say if the natal Jupiter is in Aquarius as an example, it could be where you're trying to expand your horizons through astronomy, innovation, computers, electronics, innovation, meteorology. Also, too, chaos, which could be connected with Neptune. That may challenge perhaps taking long-distance journey at this time. If, say, the natal Jupiter is in Capricorn, it could be a long-distance journey that was premeditated, very much well-planned. It could also be where during this transit, Neptune again is connected with lethargy, its weakness, tiredness, fatigue. Lethargy at this time may adversely affect your enthusiasm and your exuberance in doing things that are, it can be where, for example, let's say the natal Jupiter is in Virgo. It might be, simply organizing or cleaning, say if it's in, the 11th house, it could be defragging a computer, compartmentalizing a computer. It might be things that are just rather basic, and it could be where just simple tiredness. There might be a lack of sleep, might be causing impacting your enthusiasm and exuberance more so than usual. Now, another thing is that if you're experiencing these issues, if you've had this, especially this was an issue prior to the transit, issues with feet, the toes, the lymphatic or immune system may negatively impact. It could be activities with in-laws. It could be long distance traveling. Let's say that if Jupiter is in natal Jupiter is in Taurus, it could be doing things with in-laws or foreigners that are connected with gardening, agriculture, art, as some examples. Now, another thing too, those of you in remote cases, if there's anybody or even someone that may be experiencing this transit, keep in mind Neptune is associated with alcohol and drugs, and this could be some situation where there may be greater propensity for these to adversely affect any issues with the liver or pancreas, if that is possible. as far as the the pancreas goes, or exacerbate even obesity in some cases. Jupiter is connected with obesity. It's connected. It rules the liver and the pancreas. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. But anyway, now the thing about this too is just guard, against falling for perhaps fallacious advertisers at this time, or pastors. Neptune energy, when it's negative and adverse, it can be more of a propensity to let your guard down and be deceived and be more gullible than usual at this time. It might be a time where you may be dealing with more deceptive people that are involved in publishing or advertising. Pastors, could be people that in sports in your community that are just people that aren't really being overly honest in matters at this time. And it's also, it's important to remember, Jupiter is connected with religion, so just guard against going for falling for false religion at this time, and falling for it, just for this, joining something, religious, connected with religion. Join a religious congregation for the sake of joining it. Make sure that you have reason to believe it's something that could be plausible and it's real, and it's something that's not deceptive or fallacious. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.